And then another, not us going out, but other people going out. So our apartment is between two pretty big KTV palaces. Karaoke. They're not even bars. They're like huge.
They look like small coliseums. Like one literally is shaped like a coliseum.
And they're like a hotel. Like they're just private rooms. If you've never done karaoke in Asia, it's not like you're in front of the bar and you sing. You get a private room with your friend and you order drinks and food and like it's a whole huge thing. So we have two of those establishments on either side of our apartment. And last Sunday night, the end of the holiday, 1:30 in the morning, I'm in bed and I just hear this screaming, bloody murder outside. And it's I don't know if people outside of New York know the is her name Kitty Genovese or Kitty Genovese? Depends how Italian she was. But anyway, it's a story that kind of kicked off the psychological study of the bystander effect, which is that if someone is in trouble, bystanders will all assume somebody else is going to step in to help, so they do not themselves step in to help. So with that in mind, I was like, okay, I'm assuming someone else is going to step in to help, but no, bystander effect. So I look out the window and I see from the tenor of the screaming, it sounded like someone was maybe laying bloody in the road or like getting shoved in a trunk or blah, blah, blah. And it's just like a group of young people on a corner. There's no physical, I'm on the 28th floor, but I can see there's no pushing, there's no physical altercation, no one is dead, no one is...
Got no street skirmish.
Yeah, and in fact, the guys with her are, backing off and like giving her space. So I'm like, okay, I guess she's okay, but it still was like, it's disturbing. And so
well, and we sort of live, our neighborhood is a big, with a medium, there's like 6 lanes of road in between a giant canyon of 30-story buildings.
Yeah.
So, and they're not all like New York tightly knit. There's a little bit of flow area in between each building. Yeah. So it all acts as this giant canyon of echo when there's no cars or anybody out at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Her screams were like filling the neighborhood. And then I came in here to talk it over with you because I was upset. Not upset, but like shaken a little bit. Like she's just, can you hear her screaming? Because it went on for a long time. But no one looks like they're really in trouble. I think she's maybe, and then you had the observation.
Well, it also, just really quickly, is that does tend to be a tendency with that effect of like, a lot of, if there's an accident in the street, a lot of people gather around and they all kind of like just kind of watch.
Yeah, that's true.
There's
true.
Like
people gather.
There's a gather that without like, what am I going to do? I'm not a doctor. I don't know. Maybe somebody might call, but this is the middle of the night, so there's that. Like, we're surrounded by thousands and thousands of people in our neighborhood. Yeah. Am I the only one that hears this?
Right.
So this happened to me like when we first moved to this neighborhood.
Because Peters tends to stay up later.
Yeah, so like the first and the second or third time that I hear screaming bloody murder in the middle of the night, it's absolutely upsetting until I realized that like, oh, we live next to a bunch of KTV houses. Oh, everyone's just getting out of KTV and somebody's drunk and somebody's broken up with somebody.
Yeah, or someone's mad at someone.
Yeah, and I've never seen it like, it's never like a bunch of dudes that are getting into a fist fight and breaking bottles or anything like that. It's usually some guy's broken up with his girlfriend or something like that, and she's had enough of it, and she's telling the entire neighborhood.
Yeah. And then like, it feels like super misogynist to be like, oh yeah, that's a thing, Chinese girls do just scream when they're drunk. But it is also true, it's kind of a thing for Chinese young women to get super drunk and then be upset and then just start screaming.
And I imagine most places.
Yeah.
It is screaming young teenagers are.
Yeah.
Are
Because I mean, there's male hooting and like there's the loudness of being drunk late at night and you're on your way home. But because then it happened again last night and I was like, I don't know what that
I got this.
But it was like, because that's the first time it woke me up and she just was like screaming for like 10 minutes.
I think early on too, again, we live on a busy street, it had happened that there was a car crash. And so that was the only time I ever heard like a big commotion outside.
Yeah, but we also heard the car crash.
Yeah, I think you usually hear there's something else happens before people start screaming. Then you know it's a danger.
Right.
When it's all of a sudden just a bunch of high-pitched screaming, now we know, like, oh, KTV's been let out.
Yeah.
But
maybe if we called the police, they'd be like, do you see anyone injured? It's just KTV.
Right.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Because there's nobody else, there's no lights going on in anybody's apartment or anything like that, so that's another...
I guess, and that's a good point. I didn't put it together. When there has been actual injury or bad things are happening, crowds gather.
Oh, yeah.
And someone does call the police. So maybe, I wonder if bystander effect is cultural. Study that, psychologists.
Do it.
And because people do get involved here.
Yeah.
Whether sometimes they'll like join the fight, but they do get involved.
Also, there's again, it's a big country, and we live in a tiny town, and so anything that happens is something happening in the street that's like, are you going to go back to your restaurant, your noodle hut, and watch your boring TV? Like, usually you're watching like some kind of old TV war drama, and if something happens in the street, ooh, now we got something to watch for like an hour.
Yeah, I mean we don't.
Well, yeah.
When we see those crowds, we're like, let's go a different way.
I think that's probably a safe bet for wherever you're a foreigner. When you see a lot of people together, you get going. If there's a crowd, don't hang out. There's no reason for you to be there. This is not...
That's a situation that could become... You don't know how it's going to go, and your presence could...
Right.
make something bad happen.